T-T-I-L-E.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Lieutenant, how are you employed?
I work for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been in that role?
20 years.
Any prior law enforcement experience?
No.
And do you hold all of the trainings, education, certifications necessary to be a peace officer in the state of Michigan?
Yes, I do.
And were those up to date on April 20th of 2024?
Yes, they were.
Were you working on April 20th of 2024?
No, I was not.
You were off duty on that day?
Yes.
Were you called in?
Yes, I was.
Why were you called in?
I got a call because I operate our drone. So I got a call from the sheriff advising me there was an incident and needed the drone on the scene.
What does the drone do?
It's a small unmanned aerial vehicle. It flies in the air with the remote control. I have a controller and a screen on it. Has a camera, has infrared camera, and a zoom lens camera.
So you can take photos with it?
Yes, take
Does
photos.
it take video too?
It takes videos and photos, yeah.
And on April 20th, were you sent to the Swan Boat Club?
Yes, I was.
Is that to take photos with the drone?
Yes.
And do you know about what time you would have arrived?
I believe I arrived on scene at about just before 5 p.m., about 4:55, I think.
A couple hours after the crash?
Yes.
And the defendant was no longer on scene?
No.
And on that day, did you deploy the drone and take photos of the Swan Boat Club and surrounding areas?
Yes, I did.
Just briefly if you can, how does that work?
Take the drone out of the box. There's some assembly required. Putting the battery in it, putting the blades out, turning it on, turning my remote control on, the controller on. It runs a self jack. It grabs GPS, make sure it knows where it's at before it'll fly, and then push the two levers and it takes off.
Do you decide what photos it takes? Does it just snap automatically every second?
There's on the controller I can push take videos, take photos. I also can set it up to automatically take photos while it's flying.
What did you do on that day?
I ended up doing both. I did had it fly a pattern to take a bunch of pictures just as a mosaic if we needed it, and then I manually took different pictures at different positions over the scene.
How do you get the photos off of the drone?
The camera is mounted on the drone, and there's a micro SD card on the camera. So once the drone comes back to the ground, I pull the micro SD card out, and then I insert it into a computer. And I take the pictures off the card.
Did you have an opportunity to review those pictures?
Yes, I did.
And are they fair and accurate representation of what you saw that day?
Yes, they are.
Judge, the people are going to move to admit 9A through 9DDD, that is 9DDD. 2 or 3 of these were previously admitted, but they are just the aerial drone photos.
I don't make the objection. Okay. People's 9A through 9DD are admitted.
DDD, Judge.
DDD.
Triple D.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Lieutenant, Judge, I'm also going to move to proffer 9K to the jury. Detective, this is a photo you took. I said detective, sorry. Lieutenant, this is a photo you took?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And if we can get the thing to work here. This is the pavilion. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Where is defendant's home located in reference to this?
I'm not 100% sure. I know it was down the street.
Okay. And I'm going to proffer 9HH, Judge. Lieutenant, can you tell me what this is?
It's looks like a picture of the pavilion or where they had the party at. And there's a hole in the side of the building.
The hole is where the defendant's vehicle entered?
Presumably, yes. Yeah.
And what are these right here?
Looks like pieces from the building or pieces of clothing.
Are these telephone or electric
I'm sorry.
poles?
The white stuff. Yeah, the telephone poles. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
To your
about
knowledge, did the defendant's car pass between those two poles?
that. I believe so. Yes.
And
Objection, Your Honor. Where's the foundation of how he believes that happened?
Judge, I asked him if he had knowledge of it. I asked him what his knowledge was.
Either he has knowledge or he doesn't. The objection is what we
And I'll also proffer 9LL. And this is just a close-up of those same telephone poles. You took this photo?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I have no further questions of this witness.
You say, are you moving to admit HH and LL?
Judge, I believe they were already admitted all through that stack we just gave you. I'm just publishing to the jury, Judge.
All right.
Thank you.
Cross? No. All right. Thank you. You missed
Thank you,
it.
Judge.
Next witness?
Judge, may this witness be excused?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we call Detective Jeff Hooper.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in this matter before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Just make sure that you got it.
Detective, would you state your full name and spell your last name, please?
Jeff Hooper, Hooper. I apologize to the court for my voice. It's residual from a issue a couple weeks ago.
All right, no problem. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Detective, how are you employed?
I am currently the sergeant for the Detective Bureau at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
And what does that mean? What does it mean when you say I'm the sergeant?
So I supervise the detectives and the investigations that come through the Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
I've been in law enforcement now for 24 years.
Is all of that with Monroe County Sheriff's Office?
Yes,
And you hold all the training, education, certification necessary to be a certified peace officer in the state of Michigan?
I do.
And that was all up to date on April 20th of 2024?
It was.
Were you working on April 20th of 2024?
I was not.
Were you called in?
I was.
Okay. And on that date, were you the sergeant?
I was.
Okay. And how long have you been a detective?
I've been doing investigations now for approximately 10 years. About 9 of that is a detective, and then 1 year as a supervisor.
Were you involved in the investigation at Swan Boat Club on April 20th?
I was.
And was that in the supervisor role?
Yes.
How did you become aware of the crash?
I received a phone call from Lieutenant Zebek requesting assistance with the investigation.
Do you know approximately what time you would have arrived?
I arrived approximately about an hour and a half after the initial crash, I believe.
About 4:30 then approximately?
Yeah, 4:30, 4:45,
Was
somewhere in
defendant
there.
still on scene when you got there?
No,
What did you observe when you arrived at the Swan Boat Club?
just chaos. There's a lot of investigators there. Starting to do the investigation, different aspects of the investigation, whether taking pictures or doing, various things.
And did you at some point enter the Swan Boat Club?
I did.
And how did you enter it?
So I entered through a little breezeway that was kind of to the left of where the car had entered the building.
At some point, did you enter the main building?
Yes.
And why did you enter the main building?
We had learned that there is video surveillance, and I was meeting with somebody to get that video surveillance.
Somebody from the boat club gave you access to their surveillance?
Yes.
Were you involved in executing a search warrant of defendant's home?
Yes.
And do you recall when that was executed?
Monday, so I believe that would have been the 22nd, I believe.
April 22nd of
Yes.
2024?
Yes.
2 days after the crash.
Yes.
And what were you looking for in that search warrant?
Specifically, a DVR with video footage of, around the defendant's house.
Surveillance video from the defendant's home?
Yes,
And did you locate any cameras during the execution of that warrant?
we did.
And how many did you locate?
4?
Do you recall where they were?
Yes.
Where were they?
There was one on a barn that was across the street from the main residence. There was one on a garage on the same side of the road as the residence, kind of facing down, facing the car. Then there was a camera that was facing the door of the main entrance of the residence. And then there was also one in the kitchen in the residence.
Did you discover what those cameras were connected to?
Yes.
Can you describe what that was?
So it's a digital video recorder, or DVR, which stores the video footage.
Where did you locate that DVR?
It was located in an upstairs, I'd say like a utility room with various other things in it.
Inside the defendant's home?
Yes,
Was it functional on that day?
yes,
Did it appear to be recorded?
yes,
Were you able to determine if it was connected to the cameras that you found?
yes.
All right. How did you go about that?
So basically, I looked at the video footage that was currently being recorded, and it was my detectives doing searches, their cars in the driveway, and so it was live that way.
What was the manner of recording?
So the manner of recording it was via Wi-Fi. It wasn't hardwired to the DVR, so it was just recording via over Wi-Fi.
Do the cameras record 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
No, we later learned that the cameras were motion activated.
Did the video recording have timestamp on it?
It did,
Were you able to check it for accuracy?
yes.
How did you do that?
So when you're on scene, when you're looking at a DVR playing live, what you basically do, what I do is I pull out my phone, look at the time on my phone, look at the timestamp on the video, and compare the difference.
Did you find it to be accurate?
No.
What was different about it?
So that one specifically was an hour slow. So if it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon on that DVR, it would show 2 o'clock, 2 p.m.
The DVR would show 2 p.m.
Yes,
The timestamp would show 2 p.m.
yes,
Do you have experience with video recording devices similar to the one you found in defendant's home?
yes.
Can you briefly or tell me your experience with that?
So in doing investigations for 10 years, there's always a large, surveillance aspect to investigations. And so by, doing those for 10 years, I would go out to various businesses and utilize, with their permission, utilize the export functions on DVRs. And if you use, most DVRs are similar in nature to how you get the video off of it, so.
Did you seize that DVR?
We did.
And were you able to examine it to determine if it was recording on April 20th of 2024?
Yes.
It wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Did you find video pertinent to around the time of the crash?
Yes, we did.
And were you able to extract any copies of those videos?
Yes.
And you were able to access video?
Yes.
Okay. Did you review that surveillance video?
Yes.
And is this a copy of the recordings?
Yes.
Not all of the recordings,
Correct.
just the what's pertinent around the time of the accident?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know what camera this video is from, or cameras, if it's more than one?
Depending on the video, I believe it's the one from across the street on the barn, if it's showing the car leaving the residence.
Judge, we're going to move to admit Exhibit 11. If defense prefers, I can publish it first.
Response?
Under our meeting approach.
Sure.
Thank you. Where would you like us to approach?
Over here. Mr. Mayor, you said Exhibit 11.
Yes, Judge.
You may go ahead and play.
Okay, thank
I
you.
was just going to say, Your Honor, we had a sidebar, on the name, if I may, the record reflect that I consent and don't object.
Judge, for clarity, I will again move for the People's Proposed Exhibit 11 to be admitted.
Response.
No objection.
People's 11 is admitted.
Deputy, what's the timestamp on that video? Detective, sorry.
Currently on the screen, it shows 2:01 p.m., I believe, 2:01,
And in your reviewing of it, what time do you actually believe that to be?
3:01.
Which, does that correspond with the time that she would have crashed into Swan Boat Club?
Yes.
And in your role as detective in this case, do you know what time that crash occurred in at Swan Boat Club?
Yes, is right around, I believe, is 3 o'clock in like 50-some seconds, somewhere right around there.
And in your investigation, did you discover any other crashes that the defendant was involved in on April 20th?
Yes.
What did you discover?
So through this video, we learned that the defendant had crashed, excuse me, into her neighbor's truck with enough force to push it back over a fence.
Do you know approximately how far she pushed that truck?
I didn't measure it. I would guesstimate 20 feet.
Is that the truck you can barely see the corner of in the video?
Yes, and then also off screen there was a little pine tree that just to the right, if it would have been in front of the truck on the side of the road, that she also crashed into.
I know it's off screen, but are you saying it would have been over here off screen?
Yes.
Or on this side of the street over here?
Across the street.
Right here? On
Yeah.
this side of the street where this driveway is?
Yes.
Okay. So she crashed into a pine tree,
Yes.
and then she crashed into the neighbor's truck?
Yes.
And then she crashed into Swan Boat Club?
Yes.
In your investigation, were you able to determine approximately how far defendant's home is from Swan Boat Club?
Just by using Google Maps, approximately 550 yards, or, I'm sorry, 550 feet. not yards.
550 feet.
550 feet.
Judge, we would ask to show on the screen 9K, please. All right, Detective, is defendant's home on this screen?
Yes.
It is where I'm highlighting?
Yes.
And what is this across the street?
The barn where the camera is located.
And so the neighbor drive would have been on this side, on the other side of it, right? Just off the screen?
Yes.
Judge, I'm going to move to publish Exhibit 9, double ZZZ. And Detective, do you know what this photo is?
Yes.
And can you see defendant's home in this photo?
Yes.
Can you describe to the jury where the defendant's home is located?
So it would have been, it's towards the bottom of the photograph. That house right there.
This
Yes.
is her home?
Yes.
And this is the garage across the street you referred to?
Correct.
Is this the neighbor's vehicle that she crashed into?
Yes, it is.
And that's the fence you described?
Yes.
Were you involved in an interview with the defendant?
I was.
When did that occur?
That occurred on the day after the crash,
So that
the
would have
21st.
Sunday, April 21st?
Yes.
Where did you conduct that interview?
At the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Detective
And
Bureau.
who was present during that interview?
It was myself and Detective Modelinsky.
And was it recorded?
It was.
Have you reviewed that recording?
Yes.
Is it accurate representation of the interview?
Yes.
Has it been edited to your knowledge?
No.
No. Were portions that are inadmissible taken out for the jury's view?
Yes.
Judge, we will move to admit Exhibit 10, but we do not intend to proffer it to the jury at this time. Judge, it is hours long, and
You've not seen this?
we provided a defendant months ago.
Judge, I don't know, I understand that you provided it, but I don't know if that's the same one that I've seen. I don't mind tonight looking at it, and then in the morning, Your Honor, I can consent or object if it's not the same. I can't just do something blindly, sort of, and I don't mind putting the hours in tonight after the court.
Defense has a copy on his desk, Judge. I'll reserve this witness. We can bring it back up tomorrow.
All right, we'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge. If your representation is, well, go, I'm sorry. Sorry, Judge.
Judge, no further questions at this time. Obviously, we're going to hold this witness.
Understood. Cross.
Is it Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Sergeant. And you're a detective, correct?
Yes.
And you were a detective back on April 20th of last year?
Yes.
Okay. Were you the one primarily in charge of the case?
No. It was a team effort on behalf of a lot of sheriff's office personnel. I just kind of coordinated that.
All right, thank you. Now, you executed a search warrant at my client's home at about, would you say about 3:12 in the afternoon? On April 22nd, 24.
I'm not sure of the exact time. I thought it was possibly before lunch. If my memory serves me right.
Records, at least the ones I've looked at, say about 3 o'clock, a little after 3. Could that be wrong?
I haven't seen those records. My recollection is it was a little bit earlier than that.
Okay. And are you aware of me filing my appearance with the prosecutor's office?
Objection, Your Honor. How is this relevant?
I'm asking him,
How is it
I
relevant?
mean, can I ask the question and then
Well,
we
the
find
question
out?
is whether it's relevant or not, when you filed your appearance.
Well, because I was never contacted, and I want to confirm for the record of when I filed my appearance, if he can say yes or no.
The objection is sustained. Next question.
If you don't mind, I asked the prosecutor if you could cue up the second picture that was that you were talking about the I appreciate it. Trust me, I walk over there to point. Sure. I'm going to point.
All right, why don't you speak up?
I will. Thank you. So you can go back to the one prior to this, please.
Talk about this one?
Prior to that, or the other one.
So,
Are you asking for the video or the picture?
No, there was a still picture. There was a still picture, and you had said in the upper right-hand corner, or was that the actual video, but it looked like a still picture that was going on?
okay, hold on just a moment. Are you referring to this?
Yes, thank you very much. Officer, can you see?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And I'm not so tall, but there's a tree about right here. Would you agree?
Yes, there's a pine tree over there.
And this video that you obtained from my client's home security camera, does the original one show that tree? In other words, this goes back, let's say on this tree, 4 inches, 5 inches.
So
The original one.
the video that I extracted was given to the prosecutor's office, and that's what yes.
Yes, what? That there was a tree?
Yeah, there was a tree. Not in the video that I saw, no.
Is this a duplicate of the original that you took from my client's home?
It's the original, yeah.
This is the original?
Yes.
You didn't make a copy for the prosecutor and that's what's being shown?
I extracted the video, put it on some media, and then put it into the evidence locker.
You say extracted. What do you mean by that?
So when you extract the media, you go through the DVR, say what videos you would like to export, and then you put them on some sort of media, whether that be a flash drive, a thumb drive, a pocket drive, and then that is then placed into the digital evidence locker at the sheriff's office.
Did you have somebody that was trained in IT, or did you handle this yourself?
I did it myself.
All right, I don't have any other questions.
Redirect.
Detective, does this video appear the same as how you originally saw it?
Yes,
Did you make any changes or alterations to the video?
I did not.
No further questions, Judge.
Any follow-up?
No, Your Honor.
All right. You may skip.
Thank you.
Next witness.
Judge, we're going to call Deputy Burghardt. I think he's short enough to finish before lunch.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
Deputy, if you would state your name and then spell your last name for us, please.
Deputy Nicholas Burkhart, Burkhart.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Deputy, what do you do for a living?
I'm currently employed by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you held that position?
I was hired in April of 2006.
Okay. Do you have all the training, certifications, and education necessary to be a peace officer in the state of Michigan?
I do.
Those are up to date today?
Yes, sir.
And they were up to date on April 20th of last year?
They were.
What's your assignment within the Sheriff's Department, Deputy?